fairly often.
Okay, I got 6 o'clock, so we'll get started. If everyone would please rise for the flag pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good evening and welcome to the Morrison County Planning Commission public hearing for September 5th, 2023. I have a few items to cover before we get started. Please sign in at the door if you have not already done so. There you will find a detailed handout of the step-by-step procedure we will follow tonight if you wish to take one. Please put all electronic devices on silent mode at this time. Also, please note that all testimony is being recorded for the record. Members of the Planning Commission are appointed by the County Board of Commissioners with one member from each of the 5 commissioner districts. Land Service staff is here to assist the Planning Commission with its duties. The task of the Planning Commission is to hold the public hearing and make a recommendation to the County Board of Commissioners for approval or denial of requests for conditional and interim use permits, rezones, plats, and ordinance amendments in accordance with state law and county ordinance. The burden of proving a request meets the criteria for approval rests with the applicant. There is a protocol for how we will proceed tonight. For each request on the agenda, we will hear a staff report, hear testimony from the applicants, and then we will discuss and gather more information as needed. Next, I will ask if there is anyone in the audience wishing to speak to the request. I will ask each party to come to the podium, state their name and address for the record, and give their testimony. Please be factual as possible and direct all statements and questions to myself. After all testimony is complete, I will close the public hearing portion of the process. The Planning Commission will then review and discuss the case in terms of our findings of fact criteria as required by Minnesota statute and county ordinance. We will have a series of votes, discuss whether conditions be made. Then there will be a final motion to recommend approval or denial to the County Board of Commissioners. After this final vote on your request, you may leave if you wish. The County Board of Commissioners will then consider the request and our recommendation at their next regular meeting and will either grant or deny the request. So tonight we have 2 items on the agenda, and the first one is Ron and Darlene Gruber. If you'd want to come up to sit up here at the desk. It's 7165 Highway 238 Bolus, application for an interim use permit for a limited rural business for a creamery located in point of north half of northwest quarter of Section 18, Township 127, Range 30, Elmdale Township. If the applicant would please state their name for the record.
Darlene Gruber.
Okay, thanks, Darlene. Okay, then at this time we'll move on to if Darren's ready with a staff report, you can go ahead.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this application is to establish a limited rural business. Section 604.8 of the land use ordinance requires an interim use permit for a limited rural business. This here is the plat map with the red dot showing the location of the proposed IUP. This was the application that was submitted. Along with the site plan, you will see the 24 by 36 structure is the proposed creamery, which was located on the most southern part of the site plan. Here's the aerial photo. You'll see the creamery location on there, as well as some other buildings that have been permitted by our office have also been drawn in there. So you're going to see some additional additional buildings on there. That's what that is. So they're out there, they're just not in this aerial photo. Here's a parcel map. You can see the city limits is just to the north with the purple line there on 238. That's the city of Elmdale. Elmdale, City of Elmdale, 35, yep. So, yeah, access is through the easement going down that gravel road. Here's an oblique image showing the same property. So the applicant owns and lives on this 9.61 acre parcel in Section 18 of Elmdale Township, just south of the City of Elmdale. Access is through the easement off of State Highway 238. Again, here's that aerial photo showing that. The applicant purchased the property in 2018. They keep goats on site. Up to 26 goats may be kept on this lot, and the parcel is not large enough to establish a Tier 1 feedlot, which is 20 acres being the minimum. The applicant is requesting an interim use permit to establish a creamery and to produce goat milk products such as candy, butter, and cheese. There is a 24 by 36 proposed building for that purpose. Products would be made on site and sold to area retailers. Online sales may also occur in the future, but there's no plans for on-site sale of products at this time. The applicant plans to utilize the existing septic system to receive wastewater from the creamery. The applicant was informed that a waste stream must be evaluated by a licensed septic professional to determine waste strength and determine if that existing system can be utilized. We should discuss this tonight with the applicant. The applicant has stated the creamery will require licensing from the USDA. Specific licensing requirements and status of that licensing should be discussed with the applicant. Property owners and 2 other family members are expected to work at the creamery. No additional staffing is expected. These are your performance standards for limited rural business found in the land use ordinance. I won't go through them here, they're in the code. Same thing here. So the surrounding land use is mostly agricultural property with rural homesteads, and the nearest residence is located approximately 1,200 feet to the north. And here's a map showing kind of some of the area homes. Here's your applicable comprehensive plan goals and objectives in agricultural, A1, A2, and then objective 1 under A2. I won't read them here because they were in your reports. Local economic development, goal C1, objectives 1 and 8. Goal C2, objective 1 and 2. And if anyone wants to discuss any of these, please let me know once we're through. Objective 7 and objective 19. And then also interim use permits must be conditioned with an end date. It's kind of a little friendly reminder here. 16 notices were sent out. We received no comments prior to the hearing. And these are your criteria questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Darren. At this time, would the applicant have anything to add to the staff report? You see anything in there that need
Not
to
at
be
this
discussed?
time.
Okay, all right. So at this time, we'll kind of go to the planning commission. If you guys got any questions, now's the time to ask the applicant. So go ahead if anybody has any questions. Brent?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask the applicant, just to follow up regarding the septic system. There was some discussion here that it would be evaluated by a licensed septic designer for waste strength, and I'm wondering if this has been done and what you've learned.
No, it has not at this time. We were asked some questions in regards to, what is expected. There should be no more than 5 gallons of water used per day in that, as far as for cleanup and that, because that will be very, minimum, because we only plan, making cheese like once a week.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And if it's needed, we're open to that.
Okay, so I think one of the things, I think that's kind of all of our minds, so we don't know exactly who should be the authority on that. So I guess what we'll probably do if this goes forward is put a condition on that to get that checked. I would start with USDA and ask who you would have to do that, because we can't dump.
Okay, yep.
Because we don't, I don't think a regular sewer inspector is gonna be able to determine that.
Okay.
So I would start with them and ask who they'd recommend. And I think that, if this would move forward, we definitely want, the right authority to give approval on that, and then we'd have to have verification of that. So I think that would be probably one of the conditions that would.
Okay. We have been in contact with the milk inspector, Mary, you know, in regards to the guidelines and that. We haven't proceeded further because, you know, that will be minute if this doesn't pass.
Yep.
I mean, why go through all that work and
Yep,
not have approval?
okay. So go ahead if any, Marvin?
Mr. Chair, a few questions. First, I don't know how many goats you have and how much you're planning on producing. And you, earlier you related to, was it once a week,
Yes,
making cheese?
yes.
And I think I also heard that, read something about producing candy and other objects. Would that be just at once a week?
Yeah, probably, because it's a small scale.
So how many head of goats do you?
We have 25
Okay.
at this time. We sold some on Saturday.
Okay. The next question I have, are you, I know there's a problem with trying to find a place for goat milk, otherwise hauling it all the way to Wisconsin and a lot of issues with that.
Yes.
And are you planning on helping out other farmers in the area and producing theirs? And is that a thought, or are you just planning on just taking care of your own?
At this time in that, you know, we're going to start out with our own and that, because, you know, there's a learning curve with that, and we also have to have, you know, retail space and that to have the product sold. But yes, that could be a possibility in the future.
Okay, for now, just your own.
Yes, it could be. I mean, if there's enough demand for the product.
Okay. So the next question, I don't know if you can answer this here. Typically, we get township input. Have we, Darren, or any, got a letter or anything, township, any input from the township, how they're feeling about this?
No, Mr. Chair, or, excuse me, no.
Thank you. No more questions at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, John.
If in regard to Marv's question there, if we don't hear anything from the township, is that typically a we don't care statement?
That's how I take it.
Okay.
Can I also add, in regards to your question in that, we do plan on using, you know, local people in that for, you know, like the herbs and, you know, whatever's going to be added.
Okay.
So, you know, we try to keep that all in mind, because we'd like to, you know, as much local as we can, and it's more fresh and everything.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, that's nice that you're doing this. This is sounds like a great product and a great project and a great fit for ag and for you as a business. Back to the sewer system. You know, we don't have to nitpick that apart, but you had stated that, you know, you weren't going to be flushing any byproduct down that all of the byproduct was going to be used as feed. So I'm assuming if there's a way to make sure that, and I'm sure that's what USDA is going to tell you too, that as long as you keep that separate, it doesn't go down the sewer, that it's only a small amount of water and soap and no other chemicals, that, you know, it should be fine, I would guess. A holding tank would be the other way to go, and so you'll find some way to make it work.
Yeah, we do plan on capturing the whey in that. We don't plan on having that go down the drain, because that's very high in protein, so we do plan to capitalize on that, you know, for as far as for use.
And very hard on sewer systems.
I would not know, I'm sorry.
I think it is. Also, you know, you're limited to 26 goats. That's mature goats. I mean, smaller goats are, you know, less of an animal unit than a big goat, but whatever. You know, you've got 9 acres, and just to let you know that if you ever did, you know, want to have more animals on the property, there is a variance process that could allow for that. Or if you purchased 10.4 acres.
Yeah. We are working on that.
Which, the 10.4 or the,
Yeah, or more. So
Oh,
it's a
that-
process.
well, good luck.
It takes time.
Good luck. I hope that
Yeah,
works
so
for you.
Thank you. We hope
Yeah.
to.
In the meantime, since you're kind of fly under the radar as far as feedlots go, I was talking with Darren this morning, and we were thinking of possibly a condition to have the feedlot officer just come out and do a check, because it's not a mandatory thing, but, you've got a unique situation here. You're producing food, you're housing goats. We'd like to have, I think, personally, I'd like to have, the feedlot officer give you any pointers that might be helpful to you. Are the goats entirely housed? Are they on outside, inside, pasture, all the above?
They're mainly inside. So we would appreciate if you let us know, because we do have 2 dogs. We would.
Oh, yeah,
we
he would,
want to kennel
he
them,
would contact you.
because we don't
Yeah.
want no issues there.
Yeah, he would contact you and set
Okay,
up an appointment.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
'cause
And
we
you'd be okay with that?
Yep, because
Okay.
definitely, we don't want any issues with,
Mm-hmm.
with the dogs, because they're puppies, so
Mm-hmm.
we don't know how they would act
Sure.
at this time.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a couple things. So looking through our performance standards for the limited rural business, one of the things, on here, it's hours of operation. So you're not going to really have employees, you said. It's just going to be a couple of you, okay? So you're limited to 7 or less employees. That probably isn't going to be an issue.
No,
I don't know if the hours of operation are going to be a huge issue either, because it's not like where you're making a lot of noise or anything like that. So you're not going to sell anything on the farm, you
No,
said? So,
no.
okay, so there wouldn't be no extra people coming back and forth or none of that. So basically, nobody would probably even know you had this there once it was there.
right,
Okay.
yeah, because we're that far off the road.
Yep.
I mean, we're not going to have any signs or anything.
Okay, so one of the things on this, if this would go through, we need an end date for the permit. Okay, so typically a lot of people, they want their end date like when they no longer own the property or something like that. If there's children involved, sometimes they'll say when their children are no longer involved. If that's the case, then we have to list the names.
Okay.
If it's just until you don't own the property no more, what do you give a thought of an end date that this permit would expire, or?
Not at this time. A nephew's very interested in working in and taking over. I don't know if that would qualify.
That would, but you'd have to list his name. We'd write it down and it'd be on the
Okay.
record. I'm not gonna do 10 of them, but we
No.
would do 1 or 2.
Okay. Do you want that at this time, or?
Yes.
Okay. Alex Peltz, Peltz,
How do you spell the first name?
Alex.
Okay, Alex, okay. I didn't hear you, so sorry.
I'm sorry.
Nope, that's fine. Okay, so the end date would be when you and your husband or Alex are no longer own the property.
Okay.
Okay, that's how the end date would read. Okay,
Mr. Chair,
go ahead, Dave.
just to clarify, that doesn't mean that there couldn't be the creamery there. It would just be that somebody would have to come in and
Reapply.
and apply for IUP.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
just
I
to clarify
understand
that.
that.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so at this time, you have any plans on buying milk from anybody else or just using your own milk?
At this time, just using our own.
Okay.
And just getting comfortable with making, the product and.
Yep.
Not at this time.
Okay.
Because as, one of the guys mentioned, yes, there are issues in that, and that's why we're going forward to do this, because we have run into issues
Okay.
where all of a sudden they drop you just like that,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
you have no place to go with your
Okay.
milk.
Okay, so if this were to go through and you'd want to expand or something, just so you know, there'd be some things to expand, you might have to have another public hearing, some sort of expansion if, let's say, 2 years down the road, you want to buy a bunch of milk from other people and do this. Every time you do something different, you got to at least check with the county, okay?
Yep.
Some things will be just okay, some things will require something else, but it's always good to come to the county and ask before you do that, okay?
Sure.
So one of the things if you'd be fine with, we're gonna probably put a couple conditions on. One would be that you have to find out who the proper authority is on that sewer deal,
Okay,
and then get from a proper authority, and then we need that in writing, okay? On the sewer plan. And then also, you'll be USDA licensed, I'm sure.
yes.
So
yes.
we'd like to, one of the conditions is you have to present that to the county also.
Okay, yep. And we would be inspected, I believe it's quarterly.
Yep. And you wouldn't have to do that, but just the initial licensing through the USDA, maybe after, or saying that you're getting licensed or something like that, so we have documentation for our records.
Sure, yep, we
Okay.
can do that.
Okay. Anybody else have any other conditions at this time, being I'm talking about that?
Yeah, I'd like to add inspection by the feedlot officer.
Okay. And you were in agreement to all them? Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so then we'll move on here. Unless anybody else have any questions quick here, we'll go to public comment. I don't think there's too much here.
Would you also like to abide by local, state, and federal laws pertaining to creameries as a kind of a overarching
Sure.
issue? And
We
then,
can put that
and then do you want to condition anything about using other people's milk or not? This is kind of the notes I made in my head. Or retail sales too. Do you want to condition that or leave
We
that?
don't plan on doing retail sales on farm because of a liability reason.
Yep. I
Also
don't-
getting milk from other people, we don't plan on it at
Okay.
this time. It's fine with me, we can come back and ask.
Yep. No.
Once.
I
we
don't
reach
have
that
a
point.
problem really with getting milk from other people, but I think we probably should put the condition on that if you're gonna do retail there, that you would have to come and check with the county.
Sure.
We'd put a condition on that.
Yep,
Okay.
we don't plan on it,
Yep. But just so you're aware.
sure.
Okay, at this time, is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? So I have to ask it 3 times. I did. Hearing no public comment, we'll close this portion of public hearing to the public comment. You guys got anything else you want to go through the questions? Yeah, we'll go through the questions. Okay, question 1. The use will not put an excess burden on roadways, utilities, and public facilities such as parks and schools. Marvin?
Yes, they're located on a major road, Highway 238. There's no large, or any utilities, any schools, parks around there. It's in a rural area, it's in an ag area, so we will not put no burden. We also, a letter was sent to the township, and the township didn't respond, which typically means that they're in favor of this also.
Okay, anybody else have anything to add?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
I'd just like to add that the applicant really did a nice job of answering all of the questions, so any of those answers that they provided are good answers also.
Yeah, I would just add that it's way off the road. It isn't gonna be a ton of traffic going in and out. Like I stated before when I was talking with the applicant, you probably never know it's there at, what she's proposing. So we'll move on to question 2. The request will not be detrimental to the use and enjoyment of other property in immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor impede the normal and orderly development improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant area. John?
I think the applicant hit this with the Farmstead Creamery will be located approximately in the center of the property of the 9 acres right now. 1,200 feet is the closest neighbor at this juncture, so, and you're in an ag zone right now, so you're producing ag products.
One thing we would appreciate, if there's ever any issue in that, to let us know, please.
Yep.
Because, we want to be, the good neighbor.
Certainly. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
Thanks, John. Anybody have anything to add to question 2? If not, we'll move to question 3. The use and opinion of the planning commission is reasonably related to the existing land use and the environment. Groundwater, surface water, and air quality in the surrounding area will not be adversely affected by the proposed use. There shouldn't be a problem there. We're talking very little waste and whatever waste we will have once we get documentation of from the proper authorities on how to dispose of the little bit of waste that they do have. I don't think if that's done, there won't be any issue with that. The land use, it's ag, it's part of ag, it's a small scale. Like I said before, you probably won't even know it's there. So that was my answer to question 3. Anybody have anything to answer or add to question 3? If not, we'll move on to question 4. The use is consistent with the purposes of the zoning ordinance and the purposes of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. Brent?
Yeah, I mean, this is agricultural production. It's going to be occurring in the rural area. Nothing's really going to be changing there from the existing 25 goats. It can't expand beyond that as it currently sits. The nearest residence is 1,200 plus feet away to the nearest home. It's going to continue to be agricultural property in the zoning district. And I think it is consistent with the zoning ordinance and the goals and objectives that have already been stated here tonight.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have anything to add to question 4?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Dave.
Just like to point out that it's, basically 2 uses that are both properly zoned, or, limited rural business and ag production, and both will be regulated very well, so that's all I'd like to add.
Okay, thank you. Question 5. The use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan or the water plan of the county. Dave?
Yeah, the applicant's answer is ag food production will be done once a week. The way we'll be fed back to animals, water usage will be minimal. And I'd just like to point out that the comprehensive plan goals and objectives that were listed in the staff report, are positive. I mean, they meet all of those goals and objectives. And the county encourages local economic development, entrepreneurs that find a niche that can add value to what they're doing, and if it's in ag and an ag product, so much the better. It's meets all of the goals and objectives.
Okay, anybody have anything to add to question 5? Okay. You guys ready to vote then? Okay. Then how many, we had 4 conditions?
2, 3, 4, and then, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so keep in mind the 4
Would you mind
conditions.
reading them?
Yep. Receive and give county the proper plan
Get a little
waste
closer to your mic, Darren.
treatment approved by the proper agency. So that's again in regards to the wastewater.
Yep.
Provide land services approval from USDA or MDA regarding creamery approval. No on-site retail sales, and then a review of the site by the Morrison County Feedlot Officer of the animal holding areas for any open lot concerns.
Okay. You guys fine with them?
Yep.
Yes, I do. That was, the end date again was when Ron and Darlene and their nephew Alex no longer own the property.
Correct.
Okay, so keep them in mind when we're voting. Okay. Question 1. The use will not put an excess burden on roadways, utilities, and public facilities such as parks and schools. Marvin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Myself, Clint is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Question 2, the request will not be detrimental to the use and enjoyment of other property in immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor impede the normal and orderly development improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant area. John?
Yes.
Myself, Clint is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Question 3, the use in the opinion of the Planning Commission is reasonably related to the existing land use and environment. Groundwater, surface water, and air quality in the surrounding area will not be adversely affected by the proposed use. Myself, Clint is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Question 4, the use is consistent with the purpose of the zoning ordinance and the purposes of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Myself, Clint, is yes. Question 5, the use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan or the water plan of the county. Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Myself, Clint, is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Okay, looks like all the questions were answered in the affirmative, so
Mr. Chair,
go ahead, Brent.
I'd like to make a motion that we send this to the county board with the recommendation for approval at their next meeting. Is that September 12th?
Yep,
Okay,
with the 4 conditions.
with the 4 conditions.
Sir. Dave? Yep. Okay, a motion's made and seconded to recommend approval to the County Board of Commissioners with the 4 conditions and the end date. All in favor say aye. Brent?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Myself, Clint, is aye. Okay, we'll recommend this to the commissioners for approval, and they'll meet on September 12th. You don't need to be there for that. If you want to, that's fine. If you have any questions between now and then, please contact Land Services and they'll help you out, whatever you have.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you.
Thank you.
Exciting but scary.
Luck to you.
What's that?
Exciting but scary.
Oh, yeah. I know Dave's pretty scary looking.
No, I'm talking about the venture.
No, I know.
One place I can grow here.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Y'all ready?
You want to sign that?
Yeah, I'll sign this quick and then.
Good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up on the agenda. Find my sheet here so I can read the address. Alan and Diane Herzog, you guys can come up front. They're at 1792 450th Street, Freeport. Applications for a conditional use permit to expand to a Tier 2 dairy feedlot located in southeast quarter, Section 30, Township 127, Range 31, Elmdale Township. If you guys would state your names for the record, please.
Matt Herzog.
Alan Herzog.
Yep. Thank you. Darren, you ready for the staff report?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So again, this is an applicant to expand to Tier 2 dairy swine feedlot. Section 604.6 of the land use ordinance requires a CUP or conditional use permit for the establishment of feedlots. Here is the plat map of Elmdale showing with, again, the red dot. Everything south of there is Stearns County, so it's the county line. And then everything to the west is actually Todd County, so very close to that intersection. Here's the application that was submitted. Here's a drawing that was submitted by the applicant showing the proposed and existing lots. So this is some preliminary engineering plans. The area is, of course, showing the existing buildings and then the proposed manure storage pit to the north of that large red area, and then the proposed freestall barn and salvage pad to the left or west of the current operation. Here's an aerial photo showing the farm. An oblique image showing that as well. Another view from the different direction. So the farmstead includes 5 contiguous parcels and 1 standalone parcel for a total of 233.57 acres. The applicant and/or the family live on the farmstead in Section 30 of Elmdale Township. The property is in the far southwest corner of the county on the Stern Todd County line. It's currently a Tier 1 dairy swine feedlot, and it currently has 127 animal units. Again, here's showing the similar parcel map. So the applicant is proposing to expand to a Tier 2, which would allow 301 to 650 animal units of dairy and swine. through the expansion of a 72 by 296 foot freestall barn, a 72 by 86 parlor, and a 194 by 284 by 14 foot deep manure pit. The total number of animal units would increase to 342. Currently, the site is part of a larger dairy operation. Some of the animals are kept on a separate location. This expansion will consolidate the animals onto this site. Solid manure generated in the form of the dairy and Holstein beef finisher and swine pen pack. This is land applied daily, weekly, and monthly. The new dairy freestall barn and milking parlor will house the majority of the dairy animals currently on pen pack and transition the operation to liquid manure storage. 14 months of liquid manure storage is proposed. A stacking slab for the solid manure and the swine and feeder cattle is planned. For manure application, the applicant utilizes 643 acres. This acreage is managed by the applicant. 225 spreadable acres is needed to utilize nitrogen. 522 acres is needed to utilize phosphorus. So the open lots have been a concern. Some of these concerns will be remedied by the proposed total confinement barn and pit. However, size of the remaining open lots must be reduced. Offset rating is at 97%, and the rating for the proposed expansion goes to a 92. The applicant has submitted the following plans: the Morrison County Good Neighbor Plan. This plan identifies manure will be applied via drag line and chisel plowed within 24 hours. Mortality disposal indicates rendering as a primary method and composting as a secondary. Odor mitigation plan. The plan identifies development of a neighbor relations plan, maintenance of clean, dry floors, and avoid manure accumulation, and prompt cleanup of spilled feed, reduction of feed waste, water losses, maintenance of exhaust fans, and avoiding dust and manure buildup. Management of mortalities are required by the Minnesota Board of Animal Health, and notifications to the neighbors of manure agitation periods and avoid holidays for odor minimization. From a stormwater, the plan calls for check dams, use of berms, control on-site erosion, and maintenance of a maximum 2% slope for temporary erosion and sediment control. The applicant has been made aware that a water appropriations permit from the DNR may be required. Agricultural zoning is the only district where new feedlots are allowed. The Morrison County Land Use Ordinance states the proposed purpose of the agricultural district is to promote and protect areas which are high-quality agricultural land and are essentially rural in nature. Within this district, agricultural activities shall be given precedence over other uses. An environmental review was conducted by the Soil and Water Conservation District. Comment and recommendations were the following. The expansion will be a major undertaking, but will consolidate the operation. Manure storage will be addressed with manure pit that will accommodate 14 months worth of storage. Tile lines below the manure pit may be required. Future open lot evaluation should be conducted to determine the size of the animal units are for the remaining lots. Comp plan goals and objectives, again, agricultural A1, objective 1, and objective 4. Objective 8, goal A2, goal A3, and goal A4. Objective 1, objective 3. And then the water plan goals and objectives for groundwater are goals 1 and 2. For surface water, our goals and land use development goals and objective A. 30 notices were sent out. No comment was received prior to the public hearing. And here are your conditional use criteria questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Darren. Okay, at this time, do the applicants have anything to add?
No, sir.
Okay, so we got an awful lot of paper here, okay? And there's a lot of things, and we'll have some questions. But maybe you can condense it a little bit for us and kind of tell us how this plan came about or what you're trying to do. You trying to move more cattle from one farm to the other? Just maybe explain a little bit what you guys are trying to do here.
So currently we're milking on 2 sites. Me and my brother are in a partnership, and we rent a site, and we plan on merging to one site so we can have all our cattle in one site and manage them in one barn. And then currently on this site, we have a tie style barn, and the cows are outside on an open dirt lot. And in the winter months, we haul the manure daily. So then with this manure pit, we will take away the daily hauling. and be able to put the manure on the fields when it's more applicable, not snow. And, yeah, and then this feed pad for the additional feed.
Okay. You guys have any questions for the applicant? I'm sure we have plenty. Dave, you gotta have a lot of them.
Sure, why not? The Norby Farm in Stearns County,
Yes.
you're moving all the livestock from there, or will you still be housing some livestock there?
The mature dairy cows will be moving from there, but we might have young stock there yet.
You might have young stock there. Is that a tie stall barn too that you're milking in there? Yeah, a lot of milking to do, don't you? So that will reduce the pressure on that site too, I would guess.
Correct.
You know, that's in Stearns County. We don't know much about Stearns County, what's happening there. You have a couple of compliant issues here on your outdoor feedlots. What about there on that feedlot? How is that site? Does it meet compliance there?
Yes, there's a manure pit there already.
Oh, there is, okay. So you don't have the daily hauling and the problems that you have, okay.
Correct.
Okay. So there will be no hauling in winter, spreading in winter, once
Correct.
this project is done?
Correct.
Alan, in his environmental review, he said, he referred to this a couple of times as a big project, a large undertaking. He didn't expand on that. What was he referring to? Because of the contour of the site, just because of, yeah, would you
Well,
explain?
Yeah, so actually it worked out really well that there's a hill and a low part. So when they did the groundwork, it was a lot of ground they moved, but they didn't have to haul in any dirt, so that saved a lot. They actually just took the hill and put it in a low area. And then we added a road out the back of the farm to the county road, so then we don't have to come in through the yard when the kids. And then the manure pit will be done in the future. And yeah, it's a large project, but
A manure pit will be done in the future, or manure pit is part of the,
it's part of the plan,
it's
correct?
phase one, it's all
Yeah.
just one phase?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. There's a couple of feedlots that are a big concern right now that aren't compliant and will be compliant. And I think we're going to propose a condition to make sure that's done, that you follow through on that. What are your plans? I mean, you got cows outside a lot now because you're switch milking, I assume.
Yep.
So it's a highly erodible kind of a area that they're in. How do you plan to, I mean, you're gonna
So-
reduce the feedlot size.
Correct.
And
So right now,
that steep slope, how do you plan to protect that in the future? Will that be grazed? How much will it be grazed? Or will you not even allow animals on it?
right.
Yeah.
So right now we have, in the one lot, all the milking cows are in there, and it's partial cement and partial dirt, and it's a steep hill down to the pond. And so then once the barn is done, there'll only be a few dry cows in there. So then all the cows will be in the freestall barn. And then our future plan is to just have them on the cement, and then that cement will be pushed, that manure will be pushed into that stacking slab. So then and then the rest will all be grazed. So then we'll have way less animals on that. So right now we have too many animals to be able to graze that. It'll turn into overgrazing really fast.
Yeah. It doesn't, on a steep slope, it doesn't take much to
Right.
degrade the slope.
Right.
And so you plan to reduce numbers.
Drastically, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think that answers my questions for now. Darren, perhaps before we go any further, we discussed maybe some conditions earlier. I know you had talked with Clint. Do you have those in mind or fleshed out a little bit?
Well, I think a condition setting some sort of date to achieve a compliance with the open lots, I think is probably the most easily done. Is there a date right now of when you think the barn and manure pit would be accomplished? Did they give you?
By next fall,
Next
so
fall?
2024.
Okay. So, a fall date of 2024 to achieve compliance on the open lots or something like that might be the easiest way to condition.
I'd propose that as a condition then. I don't know if everybody else is good with that.
Well, how soon do you think this stack of slabs gonna happen? I know it's usually about a 3-year wait.
Right, that is all up to the,
Yep, NRCS and all that.
NRCS,
But you got your application in
yes,
on that?
it's all
Okay.
ready.
Could you just, real quick, could you go up to the screen and just kind of show us where the stack of slabs gonna go and how you're gonna incorporate with that cement lot and how that's,
So the manure pit will be right here.
Yep.
And the stacking slab will be right here.
okay?
We will have a, concrete runway to here.
Yep.
And all this manure, so then these is where the dairy cows are now. So in the future, they'll be on just this cement here and in the shed. So then the manure will be pushed straight on this concrete slab into the stack.
Okay, through a scraping lane, okay, so then you'll abandon the dirt part of that. Okay. Okay. So for 2024 condition, Dave, that's gonna be pretty tough. You know what I'm saying? We should have a condition, I'm not saying
Yeah,
that.
yep.
But I'm just saying a 2024, to put a condition on there that lot be in compliance is gonna be a pretty big ask.
I guess maybe what is compliance, that they're fenced on a lot that they can't get down to that pastured area. So I assume that'll be done at the same time the barn's done.
So the barn will be done so that we can be compliant by next fall, but the manure part in that stacking slab might not be compliant. But the cows won't be in there because the barn will be done before then. The barn will be done before the stacking slab.
Okay, so if we'd put a condition on that you'd be compliant on that lot when the barn is done?
Yeah.
Would that work?
Yes, because the cows will not.
What if it's
water.
not done in fall and it's done in spring? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, if you're fine with that, if
When the barn,
everybody else is
when the barn
fine.
is done, because then the cows will no longer be
Yep.
in there.
I think we could work with that.
Yep, that's a good idea.
Anybody else have any questions? Otherwise, I got a few. Okay, a little bit on the manure management plan I
Got a
have.
second?
Go ahead, yeah.
With that condition, why can't you extend that?
As far as what?
Like, say it's, instead of fall, go to spring or summer of the following year. So the guy can get the grass to grow and stuff.
I guess, well, I don't want to read between the lines, but the barn's done when you tell us the barn's done, right?
Yeah. But I mean for,
Yeah.
because,
But we'll be in compliance when the cattle aren't on there,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, and then once the grass is growing again in that
yeah,
overgrazed area.
Okay, how about if we go 6 months after the barn's completed? That ain't quite enough, cause fall, within a year.
Within a
Would you be
year.
fine, within a year?
yeah.
Okay, within a year of the barn being completed,
Yeah.
yep.
I assume you got plenty of people interested in looking at it, so they'll be,
Yeah.
they'll be monitoring it.
Yeah, well, thanks for
Feedlot
that.
officer
Thanks
and
for that
soil and
comment.
water.
So in the manure management plans here, I had a couple of questions. Now I got notes everywhere, so pardon me. So you had like the 600 and, I gotta find the spot here. Dang it, I got so much. Okay, so you had like 522 acres or something for phosphorus you needed. Is that after this is all done? I suppose it don't matter because you're still at the same animal numbers, you're just
Correct.
moving them to one place, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be adding 40 KED. That's the max.
Okay. So do you have more land? So like, it says you need 522 acres for phosphorus, but I noticed like 220 of that's alfalfa.
Yeah.
Are you spreading on alfalfa or you got other land that you can use?
Well, we rent some other land.
Okay,
too,
just
And that's Stearns.
Just
County.
asking that. I usually ask that question when people are expanding or if there's room for that. You know, you got 647 acres, so you got like 101 acres or something that you got sitting there in a bank. But, you know, if you got alfalfa planted, then it's maybe a little short. So that's why I'm just asking.
In that Stearns County, we have 114 acres
Okay.
rented.
Okay. Okay, so we answered that about that. We answered about the Okay, so we got that buffer with the grass. Oh, so until that stacking slab is put in, you know, because that could be 3 years down the road, what's your plans for stockpiling that manure until that point for the open stuff?
Either on other spots on the fields or hauling when we need to, as
Okay,
needed.
okay. Probably wouldn't, all I'm getting at is it probably wouldn't do it any good to pile it all up in the yard,
Right,
is all I'm
right,
saying, yeah,
right.
okay.
No, we'll probably be doing what we have been doing for years. A alfalfa field that gets plowed under, we
Yep.
start hauling on there.
Yep, okay. Yep, and I think we'd all agree that'd be a better spot, that's just why I'm asking. Okay, I think I'm getting down there. Okay, I think that's all I had. Yep, okay, you guys got any other questions? Ready to go to the questions? Go ahead, Marv.
Mr. Chair, just reiterate something, and usually we're concerned sometimes that it smells, and in your such a rural area, I'm just curious, and it might have been in the information, the nearest neighbor, and that's a farm, the nearest neighbor, their house, how far away is that? How many feet is that? It's a considerable distance, I believe.
1,000, I believe.
It is, okay.
It is.
And, you know, here, you have right now a 97% offset rating. You're gonna drop to 92, and that's because of the pit and all. But here, it's really not a concern, because you have a neighbor that's doing the same thing right next door.
Right.
Neighbor, and it's still, if we were using offset, it would still be in the
It meets the
threshold,
criteria,
yeah.
but, you know, we try to get the offset rating as high as possible, and you're backing up because of the liquid manure and all.
Right.
I'm just curious on distance, but you're saying approximately 1,000. If Darren can't find it, that's perfectly fine, but it's a fair distance away. It's much more than the 660 feet that,
House, farm. Yeah, it's probably, I see he doesn't have a direct dot giving me that, but if I
Who's the
was-
closest one, Herb?
You have,
There's Herb and then there's Larry Pilarski too,
Okay.
which they're about the same distance. And I'm pretty sure
There we
on
go.
our maps it's at 1,000.
Closest one would be Larry Pilarski.
Yeah,
For 1,100 feet.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And everything goes up from there.
Okay, I guess this time we'll open up to the public comment. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? I'll ask the third and final time. Any public comment? Hearing none, we'll close this portion of the meeting to the public. We had 30 notices sent, no comments. So we always take that as good, because we don't know. So, okay, we'll go through the criteria questions here again. So question 1, the use will not put an excess burden on roadways, utilities, and public facilities such as parks and schools. John?
I'm not going to hit the public facilities, parks, or schools, given the location. The excessive burden on roadways, I'm guessing there's going to be less traffic based on putting everything and consolidating onto one location, and maybe a few more trucks on a week or monthly basis hauling in and out, and that's it. So I think we're clear on that question.
Yeah, I would just add that they added another driveway, so that'll take a burden off of just one road also. It will consolidate everything. There'll be a short-term extra use during pumping and things like that of the manure pit, but other than that, yeah, I think it kind of cleans it up, so I agree with John. Anybody else have anything to add to question 1? If not, we'll move to question 2. The request will not be detrimental to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding vacant property for uses predominant in the area. I'll take that one. Really ain't gonna know a lot extra. It's in the farming community. There's farms around it and retired dairy farmers in next door. It's gonna be back of the property, so, you know, you ain't gonna see a lot of extra. I don't see where it's gonna take away. The closest neighbor is 11 1,180 some feet, so they meet the setback from that, and the neighbor's probably another farmer, so I don't think where it'll be take any enjoyment out. It's very condensed, not condensed, but the whole area is farms and similar uses, and there isn't really no vacant properties, and it is predominant area dairy farming, so it fits real well. So anybody have anything to add to question 2? If not, we'll move to question 3. The use in the opinion of the planning commission is reasonably related to the existing land use and the environment. Groundwater, surface water, and air quality in the surrounding area will not be adversely affected by the proposed use. Brent?
Well, certainly it's reasonably related. This is ag land. Ag land is the only place where you can put a feedlot. It's egg production in ag land. The reference to the air quality, there's a 97% offset with a proposed 92 in the future. Groundwater, surface water, they talked about rendering being their primary indication of animal disposal, and as far as air quality, again, other farms are in the area, so I think this is well suited for what's proposed.
Okay, thank you, Brent. Anybody have anything to add to question 3? Okay, question 4. The use is consistent with the purpose of the zoning ordinance and the purpose of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. Dave?
Yeah, the applicant answered the question, yes, the new facility will be at a safe distance from all right-of-ways and properties. Yeah, it meets all setbacks. It's now, it will now be a tier 2 feedlot. It has to meet higher standards, and those standards have been reviewed in the environmental review plan and in the review by the feedlot officer. Besides meeting the setbacks, when the project is done, it will be 100% compliant with the expectations of the ordinance and the zone that it's in.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. Anybody else have anything to add to question 4? Okay, question 5. The use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan or the water plan of the county. Marvin?
Yes, as issues right now, they talk about the open lots, and with open lots, the runoff and the going to the pond, going ahead and putting this to a pit and containing this and controlling this will bring it in compliance, and then also working with soil and water, and Alan Rumwelski with his letter and working through this here to control the environment is definitely putting this in alignment what we like to see, to have no water issues and contaminate the waters in the area and soils.
Thank you. Anybody have anything else to add to question 5?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Dave.
I'd just like to add that there's daily hauling now, and I assume that's year-round, on top of snow, ice, whatever. Not a good situation, and that's going away. There will still be some daily hauling. Of course, the applicants are aware of the best way to apply and incorporate manure, best for them, best for the environment, and I don't know. I think they've had a pretty thorough review of their operation, and these upgrades will make it less in conflict with the intentions of the comprehensive plan and water plan.
Okay. Just for the record, too, I did talk with Rob from our feedlot officer today and talked to him about this application a little bit, and he just said basically anything in his experience, anything he's worked with Herzogs on, they've been very open and very willing to move forward on them things. He basically said the site is very nice, well kept. They're just kind of with the slopes of the property and all that. they're trying to do the best they can on keeping erosion and runoff and all them things. And he just thought that this project would also probably help them out in that aspect of it. So just wanted to pass that along. We did have one condition, right?
Yes, and that is the open lot shall be deemed compliant by Morrison County within 1 year of the completion of the new barn.
Okay. Okay, you guys fine with that or anything else? Not? Okay, ready to vote? Okay. Question 1, the use will not put an excess burden on roadways, utilities, and public facilities such as schools and parks. John?
Yes.
Myself, Clint is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Question 2, the request will not be detrimental to the use and enjoyment of the other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant area. Myself, Clint is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Question 3, the use in the opinion of the planning commission is reasonably related to the existing land use and the environment. Groundwater, surface water, and air quality in the surrounding area will not be adversely affected by the proposed use. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Myself, Clint is yes. Question 4, the use is consistent with the purposes of the zoning ordinance and the purposes of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. Dave?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Myself, Clint is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Question 5, the use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan or the water plan of the county. Marvin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Myself, Clint is yes. Brent?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Okay, all the questions been answered in affirmative, so I guess I'd take a recommendation for approval, a motion for recommendation of approval
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make that motion.
with the one
with the
condition.
condition.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded to recommend approval to the County Board of Commissioners for their September 12th meeting with the one condition. All in favor say aye. Brent?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Myself, Clint is aye. Okay, we'll recommend this for approval to the commissioners. They'll meet on the 12th of September. You guys don't need to be there. If you have any questions between now and then, please contact Land Services and they'll help you out with that. Good luck on everything.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you guys can go. Okay. I guess we got some minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and second to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye. Marvin?
Aye.
Brent?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
I myself is aye. Okay. Any new business? Or any old business? I can't think of any. So I guess we take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that. Okay, motion made and second to adjourn. All in favor say aye. Marv?
Aye.
Brent?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Myself, Clint is aye. Meeting adjourned.